Hello everyone, this is Prudence Ticknor. I'm the dietitian from Mexico Bariatric Center, and this is the post-operative diet webinar. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. So in the question box, if you can just let me know that you can hear me. Great. And just a little bit of logistics for the class. If you, as I'm talking and going through the webinar, if you guys have any questions, please post your questions in the question box. And I try to be mindful of the time. So what I do is I go through the entire webinar and then I'll answer the questions at the end. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. I will get to those at the very end. Alrighty, let's see here. All right, so like I said, my name's Prudence Ticknor, and I have a master's degree in nutrition. I'm a registered dietitian and a certified health coach. I have specialized in bariatric nutrition for over 12 years now. So what we're going to start with is talking about the vitamins because they're so important. And just to give you guys a visual, so basically before surgery, you are starting with, your stomach is about the size of a flattened football. And after surgery, it's about the size of your thumb. So obviously depending on if you're getting the sleeve, it's going to be more elongated like a thumb. And if you're getting gastric bypass or mini gastric bypass, it'll be more oval like an egg, but it's very, very small. So especially the first year post-op, it's so important that you get the proper vitamins. This is not an area that you really want to try to find cheap versions. And a lot of times you'll hear people saying they're doing gummies or different things, and I'm going to go into all of this, but you don't know where they are 5 and 10 years from now and the problems that they may have. And there's a lot of research as far as people coming up with nerve damage and blurred vision and things like that specific to bariatrics because they didn't properly nourish their bodies. So it's important, it's pretty serious, and it's, and you want to just make sure that you're getting the right supplements. So some of the things you can look at: muscle loss, and this is really important just because when you guys get on the scale, you guys think about you see the scale going down and you get really excited, but you're not thinking, oh, where is that coming from? So weight loss consists mainly of fat loss, which is what we want, muscle loss, and water loss. So a lot of times, and especially if it's really, really, really fast weight loss, with all of you guys, you'll see that you're losing weight at different rates post-op. And a lot of times, if people that are losing it really, really fast, it could possibly be because they're not just losing the fat, they're losing a lot of muscle and losing water, and that's really unhealthy. And if you're losing a lot of muscle, it makes it really hard for you to keep that weight off long term. And when I mean long term, I mean 2+ years out. Of course, fatigue, hair loss is really a big thing. And just a lot of times people, again, it's human nature. So what happens is you guys don't feel hungry, you have no desire to eat, you're stepping on the scale, it's, the scale's just dropping really fast, early on post-op. So you're thinking like, why, you're happy, you're like, okay, this is awesome, because your main focus is the weight loss. And a lot of times with human nature, we don't deal with anything if we don't see the consequence of it right away. We don't start to deal with it until we see the consequence. Well, with hair loss, it doesn't start happening until 4 to 6 months after surgery, but it's what you're doing right after surgery is why you're going to lose your hair in 4 months. So just because your hair isn't falling out, it doesn't mean you're not malnourished. And almost always when somebody, and it's pretty much right within that 4 to 6 month mark, people start to email me and say, oh my gosh, my hair is falling out. What can I do? And at that point, I don't want to say it's too late, but it takes a long time to reverse that damage. So that's why I try to get you guys, the post-op information that I'm giving you is really, really important for you to follow and on so many levels. Of course, cracked and dried skin, brittle bones, and osteoporosis. This is another thing too, because with osteoporosis, a lot of times we don't get the testing on a regular basis, but the other thing too is once you have it, it's not reversible. Like the damage you've done, you can't reverse that. Weakness, nerve damage is really big, and blurred vision. And these two, the nerve damage and blurred vision, like I said, I've been finding quite a bit of research as far as it kind of like the hair loss. It's like what you do now is affecting you 5 years from now. So they're finding 5, 7, and 10 years post bariatric surgery, people are having problems with these things because they didn't properly nourish their bodies. And especially with some of the nutrients, there's no signs or symptoms of it. So there's nothing ahead of time really to kind of say, oh my gosh, this is happening. So B12 deficiency, this is, so with either the sleeve or gastric bypass, mini gastric bypass, the part of the stomach that produces intrinsic factor is either removed or bypassed. And for B12 to be absorbed into your body, it needs a carrier. That carrier is called intrinsic factor. So you might look at your multivitamin and you might say, well, I don't need additional B12. My multi has it in it. If you're swallowing that pill, you're not absorbing it because you don't have that carrier anymore after surgery. So you have to either do sublingual, and that means it dissolves underneath the tongue. And it'll say sublingual right on the bottle. Or you can do nasal sprays, which you usually need a prescription for that, or injections. So those are your only 3 options. So iron deficiency, this is more specific to gastric bypass. So if you're getting gastric bypass or mini gastric bypass, then you will want the bariatric specific multivitamin with iron in it. If you're getting the sleeve, then you don't need extra iron unless you're anemic to begin with. So if you're already low, if you're iron deficient anemia, then you will need additional iron. Calcium, the important thing with calcium is it needs to be calcium citrate, which is really hard to find. Most of the calcium out there is calcium carbonate. You will not absorb that. You don't have so after surgery, again, you just don't have the same digestive enzyme, so you don't have the enzymes to break that down. So you'll be swallowing it and it'll just be kind of sitting there. So you won't just break it down and absorb it like you will the calcium citrate. And again, calcium is so important because your intake is really, really minimal. Yeah, let's see. So this is the guidelines. You want 1 bariatric specific multivitamin. You need 2 times the RDA. And of course, the bariatric specific multivitamin gives you that. Also, preferably chewable, because again, when you have a chewable multivitamin, the digestion actually starts in the mouth. So your absorption of those nutrients increase quite a bit. Calcium citrate needs to be 1,500 milligrams. What you'll do is take those in 500 milligrams at a time, because if you take over that, like I've seen, I think like 1,000 milligrams, and of course not bariatric specific, but you're just not going to absorb that much at one time. Vitamin D needs to be 2,000 units daily, and the great thing about bariatric vitamins is this vitamin D is a lot of time it's already in your multivitamin, so that cuts out 1 vitamin that you have to do. And then 500 micrograms of B12. Now, if you decide to do injections, I know a lot of times they'll come in, let's say like 1,000 micrograms. Like, so you won't have to do that every day. If you're planning on and you can ask me this later, but if you're planning on doing the injections, you might want to write this down, or like I said, you can reach out to me at a later date. But a lot of times they come in, I think it's 1,000 milligram or microgram, sorry. So what you'll do is you'll do for the first week post-op, you'll do 1 injection a day. You'll take a daily, and then after that, you'll just take it once a week. And that's for injections only. So the vitamins that I really like are Emerge Bariatric Vitamins. It's from the company Celebrate, which is a specific bariatric vitamins, and there's a few reasons why I like this. One, this was years ago. We did a taste test with bariatric patients, and we had them taste different bariatric vitamins, and these were one of the top rated vitamins as far as, you know, a vitamin. Of course, it's not going to taste like candy unless you have a ton of crap in it and a ton of sugar and stuff like that. It is a vitamin, but it was, as taste-wise, it was rated one of the #1 vitamins. And then for me, just from a perspective of what's in it, so I tend to be anti-sugar substitutes. I'm not a big fan of them for many reasons. They do not support weight loss. Actually, research is showing that it actually hinders weight loss. People who use sugar substitutes tend to eat more food. And so the first year after surgery, you're not necessarily worried about that. But again, long term, you're going to be worried about that, you know, as time goes on. So it primes your taste buds to crave sugar, because it's sugar substitutes are between 600 and 700 times sweeter than regular sugar. So the website is emergebariatrics.com if you want to write that down. And just as a thank you for, you know, being on the webinar, we're giving a special 15% off your purchase for the next 24 hours. So you can write this code down. It's WEBINAR 15. So that'll give you 15% off within the next 24 hours. So I already talked about this. So basically, and I'll tell you, I get emails and calls and stuff all the time as far as, you know, people will go out and buy generic vitamins, and they've talked to somebody and they said, oh, I just do gummies, or I just do the Flintstones. And I mean, like I said, I've specialized in bariatrics for 12 years, so I get to talk to people that you don't get to talk to. The people that are farther out, that aren't doing so good, or are having health problems. And so so people go and buy stuff and say, Prudence, hey, can you compare? Can you tell me if this is fine, after they've already spent the money? And almost always there's like no comparison. And almost always the sugar content is extremely high. So that's going to affect your weight loss. I mean, a lot of times I check people when they send me their vitamins that they purchase. When I add up everything they're taking in, they're usually taking in somewhere between 20 to 35 grams of sugar just from their vitamins. So there's a lot you have to look at. So they're taking in too much sugar, and there's really no comparison to what they're taking in. So pretty much the generic is 4 to 1. So you have to take 4 generic vitamins for 1 bariatric specific vitamin. So in the long run, if you're taking things properly, you're really not going to save any money. And so just to kind of give you an example, this is hard to see, but I just wanted you guys to see it so you could compare yourself. So a serving size of gummies is 6, where in bariatric vitamins is usually 2. So you can see now this is just your multi. You have to remember, you have to take calcium, you have to take vitamin D. Well, your B12 will be sublingual. So, you know, so now you got to add up all these other sugars, but just from your multivitamin, it's going to give you 8 grams of sugar. Now, on top of that, you're taking 8 of them, and look what it's providing you. It's barely providing you baselines, and I mean, it's giving you half of what the bariatric specific vitamin would give you, and it's not even coming close to what you need to get. So you have to do your work. You know, if you want to get a generic vitamin, you got to go, because you really have to be a biochemist to really know vitamins. There's so many out there, but you got to make sure you're getting everything in the right form. You got to make sure it's low sugar, and so you gotta do the legwork if you're gonna get a generic vitamin. Digestive enzymes. So again, like I said, you guys do not have the same digestive enzymes after surgery. So a lot of times what you'll notice is you'll feel sick, you'll feel nauseous, and a lot of that's coming from when you're eating and you can't break down the foods very well. So I definitely recommend digestive enzyme. They don't necessarily have to be the two I recommend. You definitely want a plant-based enzyme because they're not as harsh on your system. So get a plant-based enzyme, preferably vegan-based. I will tell you, again, there's so many things out there, but this First Evolution, the Ultimate Defense Enzyme, this one on the right-hand side, it's probably one of the best ones I have found on the market, but you'd have to Google it. You can't buy that in grocery stores. You have to order it online. The Now brand you can buy in most stores, and definitely order it online as well. So regarding with the diet, so this is a basic overview. So you're going to go through 4 different phases. The first phase is clear liquids, and you have to understand in this phase, which is 5 to 7 days, it's to hydrate and rest the body. That's it. You just went through a surgery. You want to definitely make sure you're staying hydrated, but you want to let your body rest. And so you don't need to worry about protein. You don't need to be worrying about anything else other than hydrating your body. And you're going to find for many of you, some people don't have any problems at all with the liquids, and other people have a really hard time. So you're going to find that you have to focus on just getting your liquids in, or because if you don't focus on it, you won't. So then after 5 to 7 days, once you're easily getting in, the baseline is 48 ounces of fluids. The next phase is thick liquids, and this is where you focus on protein. So there's a different focus for each phase. So hydration in phase 1, protein in phase 2, and we'll go into more detail in a minute. This is just kind of a quick overview. Soft solids is the third phase. This is where you start to focus on calories. Again, if you are not focusing on getting proper calories, proper protein, you will see your hair fall out at 4 to 6 months. So you got to work on that. And then phase 4 is 1 month, I call that 1 month and beyond. This is where you're starting to add variety. You're slowly testing foods. So with if you're having gastric bypass or mini gastric bypass, those are the 2 main ones. Sometimes duodenal switch, but not as much. Even though I'm not a huge fan of sugar substitutes, with the gastric bypass and mini, you pretty much have to use sugar substitutes because you will get what they call dumping, which is any high fat or high sugared foods will dump right into your system, and you get like flu-like symptoms, and so you can have hot flashes, vomiting, diarrhea. You can have all of the above. It's pretty bad. Usually people that experience it don't. It usually only takes once or twice, and they don't do it again. So you want to make sure you're looking at everything, and in one, every food label, and you have to make sure your total intake of carbs for that meal is under 15 grams, and that's really important. But and this is for everybody, if you're going to do sugar-free products, then do your best to find things that have stevia in them. And I'm going to give you a bunch of them here too, because stevia is only about 150 times sweeter than regular sugar. So it's a lot closer to regular sugar versus sucralose and aspartame are 600 to 700 times sweeter. So clear liquid phase, like I said, this phase is, you're not doing, by the way, you're not doing vitamins right away either because they're really strong. And if you try to take them on an empty stomach, you're going to get sick. So you're just hydrating your body. The minimum amount of fluids you want to get in is 48 ounces. This is going to prevent dehydration. You do not want to end up in the hospital because you're dehydrated. And this happens sometimes, again, because you have no desire to, and sometimes especially if you have the severe acid reflux or severe nausea that some people get post-op, and I will tell you a lot of times it's because they didn't do the apple cider vinegar or the probiotic, or they continue to drink coffee, things like that are really acidic. So that will affect you post-op. But anyway, so your baseline goal is 48 ounces of fluids, but of course, you hope to get 64 ounces of fluids, but at least 48 ounces, and do your best. And early on, you guys, if you're not getting 48 ounces of fluids in, because why people wait, I'm not sure. A lot of times people send me an email or call me and say, I'm sorry, I'm bothering you. And I'm like, you're not bothering me. That's why I'm here. So if you, maybe the first day or two, that's fine. But after 2 days, if you're not getting in 48 ounces of fluids, you need to call me. This is really important. Give me a call so I can see what we need to do to prevent you from getting dehydrated. Let's see. So we already pretty much talked about this. Oh, the only other thing I want to say is that, excuse me, warm fluids tend to go down better, so they relax your stomach muscles. So either do things warm like herbal teas, broths, things like that are warm, and or if it's things from the refrigerator like juices and stuff, do them room temperature. Don't put anything in the fridge because colder fluids are harder to tolerate. So these are, and again, this is all in your packet of stuff. The one thing that's not on here that I would recommend, and if you guys want to write this down, this third bullet, like you can do broth. There is something called bone broth, B-O-N-E, bone broth, and you can buy it at like Whole Foods, and of course you can make your own, but if you're going to buy it, you can buy it at like Whole Foods, Sprouts, stores like that. And Jarrow, there's probably lots of brands, but usually Jarrow is a good brand, which is Jarrow. That is an amazing broth. I mean, it has protein in it, and not a lot, but it has a lot of nutrition. So even though it's a clear liquid, you're getting nutrients in your body right away, which is great. So if you have a store like that, I would definitely go and buy that. And it comes in a powder, and you just add hot water to it. So this is something you could actually take with you in your suitcase if you haven't had surgery already, and take that with you. Herbal tea, Ticino, that's what's down here. Great coffee alternative. This is what I drink. Water drops, you really want to look for things that are sweetened with stevia. So Crystal Light Pure, you'll see how it's a white box, and I think the regular Crystal Light is, I don't even know actually. Actually, I don't even know. So anyways, but you'll find the Crystal Light Pure right next to the regular Crystal Light. But look for the white box and look for it says Pure. So it's Crystal Light. The only difference is it's sweetened with stevia, where regular Crystal Light is sweetened with aspartame, which is actually the worst sugar substitute to put in your body. Skinny Girl is great, and Skinny Girl has a whole line of salad dressings too that are fantastic, and they're all sweetened with stevia, which is really nice. So this is sweetened with stevia. Also, Sweet Leaf water drops. You can't really see it, but it's called Sweet Leaf water drops. Again, sweetened with stevia. These are really nice if you can find these. Hint, just a little bit different, because you guys sometimes, if you've been used to drinking a lot of juices and These are great actually for pre-op too, just to give you a little bit something different. They're not carbonated, but they're naturally infused flavors into water, which is really nice. So there's no sugar substitutes in them. So that's something you can get. And then True Lemon, True Lime, again, these are just natural flavors. Like they're little dried packets. Some of them are sweet, like let's see, the True Lemon, no, like they have a True Lemonade. Oh, right up here you see the top two. One says lemonade and one says raspberry lemonade. These two are sweetened with stevia, but the rest of them, and they have oh, actually, I'm sorry, this whole picture is, these are all sweetened with stevia, but they have like your basic true lemon, true lime, true orange, true grapefruit, and literally that's just dried fruit, and it's fantastic. So if you're somebody who doesn't like water, and they come in little packets, and so you can keep them, keep them in your pocket, keep them in your purse to use. Let's see. So if you're going to use regular Gatorade, make sure it's diluted 50-50, or they do have sugar-free Gatorade. I prefer like vitamin water, so, like this vitamin water, Sobe Life water, things like that, because those are all sweetened with stevia. So it's similar to Gatorade. The only difference is the sugar-free Gatorade. And I'm sorry, I actually don't know if the sugar-free Gatorade is either. I think it's sucralose they use. So you can use vitamin water or the Sobe Life water, and those will be sweetened with stevia. If you're going to use regular juices, just remember to dilute 50-50 in water. So definitely on the plane coming home, they offer apple juice and cranberry juice. You just need to dilute it down. Coconut water is really great. Again, you just have to check that. You've got to read the labels, because a lot of times the coconut water can be high in sugar. You can do sugar-free popsicles and sugar-free Jello. Just remember, those things are pure chemicals, but they might, who knows, they might make you feel good or your throat feel good. If you cannot drink at all, if you're one of those people that are really nauseous, just suck on ice chips. It's like better than nothing. So you'd be amazed at how much hydration you're getting in. But again, after 2 days, if you're still only getting ice chips down, you need to call me. So thick liquids, which is phase 2, that's the next 5 to 7 days. So basically each phase is like a week, but it may be a little bit less, it may be a little bit more. I give you guys general guidelines, but I'd rather you be a mindful eater. And what does that mean? It means you pay attention to your body. So let's say you're 3 days post-op, and you are easily getting in 64 ounces, you're not having any problems, and you feel, you don't really feel hungry like the way you know to feel hungry, but you kind of feel like an emptiness in your stomach. Like your body tells you, like, you know what, it's ready. It wants something more solid than clear liquids. Even though it's 3 days, your body's telling you it's ready. So there's no better expert than your own body. So because we're giving you like a cookie cutter method, but each one of you is an individual, each one of you is going to progress at a different rate. So go ahead, and if your body tells you to go faster, that's fine. But as long as you're getting in the goal for that phase. So like I said, phase 1 is 64 ounces of fluids, phase 2 is protein. So kind of shoot for 70 to 90, but no less than 60 grams. Aim for 20 grams of protein per meal. So whether it's soup, whether it's a protein shake, whether it's liquefied oatmeal, whatever you're doing, say to yourself, how am I getting my protein in? So, yeah, tomato soup is fine, but then think, oh, instead of adding water to tomato soup, you can add the Fairlife milk, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Fairlife milk is really high in protein, and every bariatric patient should have Fairlife milk in the refrigerator, because it's double the protein. They take out the milk sugar, and it has a digestive enzyme in it already. So if you're going to drink Fairlife milk, then you don't have to worry about doing another digestive enzyme. With And so this gets a little confusing, but basically you're going to do something similar as far as your protein. See, I said 10 grams of carbs, but um, you want to make sure there's a lot of things that go into carbohydrates, but you want to make sure it also has less than 5 grams of sugar. In post-op now, there's a few other things you need to look out for. You need to make sure that if you get whey-based protein, that's WHEY, it has to be lactose-free. Because you don't tolerate the lactose after surgery. The other thing you need to make sure is that it has no fiber or minimal fiber, just a couple grams. If it has 5 grams or more, what's going to happen is even though you can tolerate it, or you may be able to tolerate it, fiber bulks up. So what you're going to find, and I hear this a lot, is it's going to take you 2 hours to get your 6 ounces of a protein drink in, and you don't want that. You want to be able to, because pretty much early on you need to be drinking something every 1 to 2 hours because you're taking in such a small amount at one time. You can do, you don't want to drink liquefied yogurts, but you can, blend, like maybe add some Fairlife milk to some yogurt, and because basically thick liquids is hot. You don't want to use a straw, but it's going to be the consistency that goes through a straw. And if it can't go through a straw, then it's too thick. I mean, it's you're moving on to soft solids. So these are drinkable yogurts. You want to stay away from these. A lot of times the marketing, they're so good. They look healthy. And even me, being in this industry, I will go and it'll have all this stuff on it to make you think it's healthy, and I'll pick it up because I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe they have something healthy, and I turn it over. Always, 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 it's super high in sugar, like the same amount of sugar you'd get in a soda. So, and kefir is fantastic. It's really, kefir is really healthy for you, but again, the problem is it's loaded with sugar. So you have to stay away from the drinkable yogurts. So how do you determine your protein needs? So I gave you that general guideline of 70 to 90 grams, but if you want to figure out what you actually need, what you would do, and you're going to want to write this down, you're going to take your ideal healthy weight. So not your ideal weight, because your ideal weight might not be healthy for you. Sometimes people have an idea of being smaller than really what they should be. So you want to make sure it's an ideal healthy weight, and then you divide that by 2.2. This is your very baseline protein needs for you. Baseline, meaning don't go below it. Now, if you're working out as you start to work, as time goes on and you're working out and things like that, you may need more, and that's something you can call me or email me and we can discuss. But to begin with, this is your baseline, so you can go ahead and determine your own protein needs. So I already talked about Fairlife milk. I can't say enough about this. Now, you see I'm not promoting chocolate milk because they're chocolate milk. Now I will say if you have kids or something, it does have a lot less sugar in it than regular chocolate milks. And this milk is hormone free. So if you're going to give your kids milk, you definitely want it to be free of the bovine growth hormone. It's really affecting a lot of things in children, and that's a whole nother webinar I could do on that. So, but as far as you guys are concerned, you just want the regular milk. Now, because your intake is so minimal, do not get the fat-free. Like, you guys are so used to getting everything fat-free. Stop doing that. You want to do everything regular fat. So, and if you're kind of hesitant, at least get the 2%. So, because for example, a serving of milk is 8 ounces, but most of the time early on, most of you are only able to get in 4 to 6 ounces at a time. Well, skim milk is 90 calories, where whole milk is 150, and you're only going to maybe get in half of that. So you can see where full fat products are really important. So whether it's cottage cheese, whether it's milk, just buy the real fat, the real deal, and stop buying the low fat, fat-free products. So now we're moving on to soft solids. Oh, so I didn't let me go back. I'm sorry. I want to talk a little bit more about this. I mean, I think I did touch on it, but I just want to make sure. And you guys get a much longer list in the packet that I send you. But um, with weight loss, a lot of times you think like, oh, how can I be, if you're not eating very much. Um, but even with fluids, you can take in a lot of sugar. Like I hear a lot of people doing a lot of like tomato soup. Well, tomato soup is really high in sugar. That's probably why a lot of people like it because it's kind of sweet. And not that it's a bad thing, but I want you to think through your day and again, really make sure you're getting your protein. Take the time to find, like soups that are higher in protein, or like I said, using the Fairlife milk to add protein, but things like bean soups and blend them up, or split pea. Like split pea soup has like 14 or 16 grams of protein in it versus maybe 2 grams in tomato soup. So right now, like right after surgery, because your intake is so minimal, you have to think nutrition. That is your primary goal. It's like, how am I going to get nutrients into my body? And so it's not just pick up any old soup, and because it's a thick liquid, I can do that. People do that all the time, but you really shouldn't. I mean, if you want to really, because you want to start to think about, like I said, the bottom line is how can I nourish my body? Then phase 3 is soft solids. Now, this is where you start to focus on calories. And believe me, you have to focus on calories. And if you don't, you're going to take in a minimal amount. Like on average, when people reach out to me, and they just say, "Hey, Prudence, just want to know how many calories," or like I'll do an assessment on their diet. Almost always in this phase, and really sometimes for the first couple months, if you're not really trying, they're taking in 300 to 500 calories. I can tell you your hair is going to fall out if you're taking in 300 to 500 calories. So you really want to work on getting 800 calories, which I think I talk about that. I might be getting ahead of myself. So anyways, the phases, you're going to start to focus on calories. As you add foods, you don't want to try a lot of new foods at the same time, because again, you don't have the same digestive enzyme. So you want to try, one food at a time. And like I said, I give you a list of your basic foods that more than likely you're going to be able to tolerate. This is where you're going to pull out your scale. You need to weigh your food. So you don't have to worry about ounces. With fluids, you just drink as much as you can. But once you get to soft solids, you're going to weigh your food. And your very first goal is 4 ounces of food. Now, this may take you months to get up to this. So I'm going to kind of tell you the big picture and then move back a little bit so you can see why you're progressing the way you are. So the end goal with the bariatric meal plan is 3 meals a day at 6 ounces of food, 6 to 8 ounces. And so in that 6 ounces, you're going to do 6 to 8 ounces, you're going to do like 3 to 4 ounces of protein, 1 to 2 ounces of healthy fat, and then you have 2 ounces that you can play with as far as fruits, vegetables, and carbs. And then you're going to do 1 protein shake or 1 protein bar a day. And the beauty of the bariatric meal plan is the balance. So you heard me say that you have 2 ounces you can play with. So long term, if you want a little, some candy or a few bites of cheesecake or a few bites of a cake, things like that, you're never going to eat it by itself because you're going to get sick. But a small amount of that with protein, because protein and fat actually slows down the digestion rate of how fast sugar goes into your body. So if it's digesting at a slow rate and going into your body at a slow rate, you're not going to get sick. And then on top of that, you're having a very small amount. So this is, and this type of diet also, because you get variety, then long term you're able to keep up with it versus this whole concept that carbs are bad, which they're not. It's just the type of carbs and the overabundance of carbs that you're eating. Now, so that's long term. So your very first goal when you start in phase 3 is at least try to work your way up to 4 ounces of food. Just so you know, this may take a few months to get there. So for example, a lot of times I'll talk to clients and they're in phase 3 and they make one scrambled egg. Well, one scrambled egg is an ounce and a half. That's it. And most people can't even eat one egg. So you can see, so instead of that 3 meals and one shake, you're eating every 1 to 2 hours because you're literally taking in only a few bites. And you see here, this one is 15 to 30 days. Like usually when you get on soft solids, you're on this phase for like 2 weeks, sometimes longer, because you want to start to nourish your body and try to, because you're not eating very much. So if you can't get in 4 ounces of soft solids, then you shouldn't be moving to solid foods because it's even going to be harder. So you need to be able to eat 4 ounces of foods before progressing. So that might be 2 or 3 months. It might be just 2 weeks. Everybody's different. What else do I want to say about this? The other thing I want to say about this phase is transitioning. So if you can only eat 2 bites of a scrambled egg that's only an ounce and a half, the next hour or the next 2 hours, then do a thick liquid. Do something where you can get a lot, like, a protein shake or a high protein soup, things like that, bone broth, so go back and forth. So you're going to transition between thick liquids and soft solids for quite a few weeks if you're going to properly nourish your body. And again, you guys, I know if you're overwhelmed, like I have a lot of people that will call me every week or email me every week, every time they go to the next phase, and we kind of make a plan together. And so if you're feeling like this is overwhelming or, too much information at one time, this is being recorded, so you can listen to it again, but I'm only an email or a phone call away. So to work with you through the phases. Soft solids also, you really want to, like if you're doing things like chicken salad or, of course, you want it to be blended up like baby food, but you do not want to use baby food. A lot of times you'll talk to people and like if you Google bariatric meal plans, like you'll notice that some of the things that I say, they don't. And so like I said, I've specialized in this for a long time. So I'm not just thinking about weight loss today. I'm thinking about how are you, setting you up so you're the most successful, 2, 5, 10 years from now. I'm also thinking about your skin, and helping you minimize the saggy skin. There's just so many things that come into the diet. So baby food was made for babies. So for example, a whole jar of like protein, baby food is 8 grams of protein in that entire jar, and I think it's 4 ounces, where 4 ounces of pureed meat, whatever it might be, would be like 28 to 32 grams, depending on if it's fish, chicken. So 8 to 30, basically. Huge difference. So do not, if you want to do baby food as far as like vegetables or, fruit, I don't know why you'd need to. It's a waste of money in my eyes. But anyways, that would be fine. But do not use baby food meat because you're just not going to get in enough nutrition. But if you're doing something, you want to start to practice, even though this is soft solids, you want to start to practice pea-sized bites because not that food gets stuck, but sometimes it feels like it can. So you just want to be really careful. And then too, you have to chew, chew, chew. So obviously if you put a big piece of something in your mouth, then it's going to be harder for you to chew it. You're going to hopefully you practice this pre-op, chewing the food to applesauce consistency before you swallow. The other thing you're going to start to do in this phase is the 30-20-30 rule, and that's you stop drinking 30 minutes before your meal the 20 minutes while you're eating and the 30 minutes afterwards. And you might think, well, why do I need to do this? And the reason is because remember I already gave you that visual of how small your pouch is, if you drink fluids, you're not going to get food in. So when you're supposed to eat, we want to make sure you leave that entire space for food. And the reason you don't want to eat and then drink is that what will happen is the fluid will push the food through your pouch faster than leaving you hungry. Now, early on, this isn't a problem, but a lot of these are lifestyle trainings. You have to train yourself. So it's just easier to start right away because long term, as you're farther out, if you're drinking with your meals and you push that food through, then you might want to eat again in a couple of hours when you just ate 6 ounces of food. So you don't need to eat in 1 to 2 hours if you ate 6 ounces of food. Let's look. And then pretty much the rest of this I already talked about. So again, always thinking of, so these are some of the samples of soft solids. So you could do even like a scrambled tofu, because some people don't do well with eggs. It's really interesting. Some people do fine and other people do not, and I don't know why. It's really interesting. So but you can do Greek yogurt. If you do Greek yogurt, get this. This is Barlean's. It's Barlean Swirl. They have like so many flavors. I probably have 4 or 5 in my fridge right now. But it's your essential fatty acids, meaning your body doesn't produce it, so you need to get it in your diet. So this is such a fantastic product because it tastes so good. I mean, my 10-year-old daughter takes it right from the spoon because it tastes so good, but there's not sugar substitutes in it. So if you're somebody who is having a hard time getting your calories in, which is a lot of people, you could take a few spoonfuls of this a day and get, like I think 1 tablespoon is like 70 grams or 70 calories because it is a fat, but it's a healthy fat. It's an essential fatty acid, again, meaning you need it in your diet. So you can get Barlean Swirl. You can get it at like Whole Foods, Sprouts, things like that, or you can get it a lot cheaper if you order it online through like Amazon Prime. So, and you'll see the 2 different sizes. So like you see this big one, the orange, and then now especially if you order them on Amazon Prime, you can order the little guys because they are expensive, but they're totally worth it and they'll last you forever. So yeah, you invest a little bit of money, but they last a long time. But especially if you want to get a few different flavors, what I recommend is getting the smaller version. So if you are ordering it online, look for the smaller. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what the ounces are, but there are 2 different sizes. Sauces. This Tessemae's is like an amazing sauce. So again, there's no sugar substitutes in these sauces. They're fantastic. They have salad dressings, but they also have like barbecue sauce and hot sauce and all these different. So you can like add them to your vegetables and do different things. It's like amazing. Just to add flavor. Again, some of these healthier foods, unfortunately, are really hard to find. Again, Whole Foods, Sprouts, stores like that will have them, or you can order it online. And so, gosh, and I can't even tell you how to spell this but Tessemae's, I think it's Tessemae's, Tessemae's. And yeah, so this is probably one of the best sauces I found on the market because they don't use sugar substitutes. And there's not chemicals in it. I mean, if you looked at a Tessemae's bottle and compared it to like if you took the Tessemae's barbecue sauce and compared it to a barbecue sauce in the store, like you would be amazed to see the difference of all the crap that's in the barbecue sauce. They just don't have all the stuff, all the garbage and toxins that the additives and preservatives and stuff like that are going to be stored as toxins in your body. So then 1 month and beyond, this is where you are eating at least 4 ounces of food at this time. Remember, the long-term goal is 6 ounces of food. And this is where you start to add variety. So your very first goal, like you always want to look at your plate and you want to see 3 ounces of protein and 1 ounce of fat. Now, you guys, if hopefully you're on our Facebook support page, and I don't mean any disrespect to people, but I've just seen too many people, like I said, farther out, that are 5 and 7 years out. So a lot of times what you'll see is people, you might be talking to people and they'll tell you what they're eating and they're not doing this, and they might say, oh, I pretty much don't pay attention to what I eat whatever I want and all of these things, but they're the person on Facebook dropping weight like crazy. So you think, well, oh my gosh, they're losing more weight than me, and they're not focused on what they're eating. Well, they're losing muscle and they're losing water. It's not healthy weight loss. So you have to keep that into perspective. The person that you're going to lose some muscle. There's no way around it with rapid weight loss, which is what bariatric surgery is. But if you follow what I'm telling you to do, you're going to minimize it. And you're the person that's going to have a higher metabolism 2, 3, 5 years out. You're the person that's going to be able to keep this weight off much easier. The person that loses a lot of muscle is going to have to work a lot harder. So like just for example, like just your regular, for every pound of muscle, your body burns 10, I think it's like 10 calories. But let's say you have 150 pounds of muscle. So without you doing anything, your body just does that. Fat is three calories per pound. So see the difference? So if you lose 50 pounds of muscle, that's 500 calories a day that you have to work. You're going to have to work, figure it out. You're going to have to exercise more. So it makes a huge difference. I'm going to get off my soapbox there, but it really makes a difference long term. So your very first goal is going to be 3 ounces of protein and 1 ounce of healthy fat. And then once you can do that, then you start adding in fruits, vegetables, and carbs. Now, let's say you're having cottage cheese and you want to add in some fruit for flavor, that's totally fine. But then again, just get the full fat, the 4% cottage cheese, and that's where, so your fat is already in with the protein, and then you're going to add some fruit in there. So your very first goal, and you start this in phase 3. Remember, phase 3 is you work on calories. So your very first goal is going to be 800 calories. And it might take you a while, but like right at week 3, you might not be getting it in, but I just want you to be mindful. Like I said, the average person who's not paying attention, they're taking in 300 to 500 calories. Once you're getting in 800 calories, then your next goal is 1,000, and then your baseline, every single person should be eating at least 1,200 calories. If you're under that, you really are putting your body into starvation mode, and that actually goes against you. Your body actually starts fighting you, working against you, because it's holding on to the fat. It's like, oh my gosh, this person's starving me. I need to preserve myself. You don't want your body to work against you. So this is a lot of times where stalls come in. So believe it or not, you have to eat more to stop the stall, which is kind of a crazy concept for you guys. If you're under 1,200 calories, the other thing I would do is keep exercise to a minimum. So many times, again, people have me look at their diet, and they're doing 600-700 calories, but they're in the gym for 2 hours. Like, you don't, again, that's going to mess up your metabolism. Your body's going to work against you. You definitely want to walk. You can be active, but until you're up to the 1,200 calories, going to the gym for 2 hours, or, walking 5 miles a day, things like that. Again, because you're burning calories you actually don't have. So again, that's going to put your body in a deficit to the point where your body thinks it's in starvation mode. So just be mindful of that. Once you are eating the 4 ounces, you can start to add starches. Some of the things that are easier for you to tolerate, if you want to do bread, Ezekiel bread, it's made from sprouts, which is fantastic. So it actually has like just one slice of Ezekiel bread has like, I think 5 or 6 grams of protein in it, which is great. So the problem with starches is they get really gummy. and they expand, so they're really hard for you to swallow. They get stuck really easily. Well, because anything with protein in it actually it doesn't expand and get gummy like regular bread does. So Ezekiel bread's a great choice. Anything that's flat. So start with tortillas, crackers, things like that. We talked about oatmeal. Sweet potatoes is another thing. If you're a rice lover, use quinoa instead. Again, quinoa has like 6 grams of protein in it per serving. Again, so it's not going to get gummy like rice does. It doesn't expand like rice does. So where you end, because you don't realize you end up having a few bites of rice and then it expands a lot and then you end up getting sick or throwing up, which we don't want. And you know, the other thing, if you're a big rice lover or like you add rice into foods, I just found they have like shredded cauliflower, and it's to replace rice. It's fantastic. It's amazing, and it's in the freezer section. So you can, like I just made stuffed peppers with chicken and black beans and stuff, and it called for rice. And I put the shredded cauliflower in, and it looks like little tiny pieces of rice, and it's amazing. So, a lot of times, yeah, just like I said, there's so many different foods out there and stuff, so you can always call me or email me with questions. Healthy fats is really important. I mean, you know, again, this is, remember, you're always saying to yourself, where's my protein? Where's my fat? So early on, you have to have one of these in your cupboard. Coconut oil is fantastic. Again, you can, if you're making oatmeal, you can put it in your oatmeal. You can put it in your protein shake, or the swirl but or both of them, of course. But as time goes on, you can do avocado, you can do olives, you can do a variety of nuts, but that's going to take a while. Or just getting used to putting grass-fed butter or olive oil or different types of oil on your vegetables and things like that. Fats you want to minimize are saturated fats, and then of course trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acids are the worst fats. That's like fried foods, anything processed, like muffins, crackers, cookies, things like that. I have trans fatty acids in them. Uh, you know, of course, you can do salad dressings, and if you're gonna make let's say like a chicken salad, of course you can use plain Greek yogurt that actually works really, really well. Or some people will just use avocado, um, you know, mush up a soft avocado and make a chicken salad with that. But if you're going to use one of these, you're going to want to use mayonnaise versus Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip has sugar in it. Again, just look at the labels, make sure you're getting lower sugar salad dressings. Sour cream, again, margarine or butter, do butter, try to get grass-fed butter made from grass-fed cows. So why choose Mexico Bariatric Center? We've specialized in medical tourism for over 8 years now. And this next thing is really very, very impressive. I myself I'm amazed, and so the surgeons actually only do 3 to 4 surgeries per day, so they're very alert. Like you know, I've worked with a lot of amazing surgeons, even in the United States, and I've just never seen this. So again, the more alert, the less surgeries you're doing per day, obviously less risk, less complications. Because the surgeons with Mexico Bariatric Center, we specialize in bariatrics. So sometimes you can go to a surgeon who does, they do bariatrics, but they do a bunch of other things too, where our surgeons specialize in bariatrics, so they're doing them all day, every day. So, well, not really all day, but they're doing them every single day. So there was research done by the American Society for Bariatrics, and what they found was surgeons who performed more than 100 cases a year, they found that they had less complications as far as problems with surgery, or you were shorter stay in the hospital, and so that's always a good thing. And then the other thing is a lot of places with you know, medical tourism and bariatrics, it's, you know, you have the surgery and you do not have any support. And MBC has a fantastic support team. So you have myself, you know, I'm the dietitian and health coach. We have a medical liaison, Jen, who is amazing. And we have the Facebook support page, and I'm always doing new classes, webinars on different topics. So you have a great support, both pre and post-op. So that's it, you guys, as far as the actual webinar. This is wrong. So again, if you do, it says 10%, but if you buy vitamins in the next 24 hours and use this code, you'll actually get 15% off. So now what I'm going to do, you guys, is go to the questions. And let's see here. So bear with me. Let's see. So Mark says, is this all the vitamins we will need? Yep, that's it. That's all the vitamins you're going to need. The only thing that you might need post-op, and this is where is the probiotic that I have you take pre-op. So it's recommended to only take for 6 weeks, but if you're feeling really nauseous, like some people are still really nauseous post-op, you're going to want to start taking that probiotic again. So Roy says, paperwork given by me, doctor says only take medications provided the first week after surgery and start on vitamins the second week. Please discuss, as you said, do injections of B12 daily the first week. So B12, right? So, and that's something that I had them change on their paperwork too, because the bariatric vitamins make you sick. But you, or they can make you sick. It's not a guarantee, but it's mostly the multivitamin. B12 is not one of those things. So, and again, if you want to start the second week, that's fine too. Kind of makes it easier and less confusing if you start them all at the same time. So what I should have said is the first week that you start taking vitamins, you'll do, if it's the injections, you'll do every single day, and then you'll do once a week after that. But with B12, you actually can start it right away. It's B12 is for energy, and you're not going to get sick from it. But thank you for clarifying that, actually. I heard you mention in your packet of stuff, when do we receive this information? So it depends on when you're having surgery, but if you want to go ahead and shoot me an email at Prudence, so it's on the, I think it's actually on this little screen. I have the question box up right here. So yeah, if you want to write that down, but Prudence at MexicoBariatricCenter.com. Or I'm sorry, Prudence at sources.com. So SOURCIS.com. Just shoot me an email and say, hey, can you send me the packet? What is the brand of bone broth? There's lots of different versions out there, but Jarrow, Jarrow. Fairlife milk is not available in Canada, I don't think, unfortunately. So I am very vitamin D deficient. I currently take 7,000 IU per day. What should I do to get enough vitamin D after surgery? So you would just continue to take that, or you might want to talk to your primary care physician, because you can get a prescription for like, well, you won't take it all the time, but there's different versions. So you might want to give them a call and let them know. So you might want to take a higher dose, so you don't have to prevent, since you're already deficient in it, you're probably going to need to take more. So is Olga's 000 yogurt okay? Yeah, that's actually the yogurt I recommend, is 000. It's fantastic. It's you always want a yogurt that has more protein than sugar in it. So 000 has that. The other thing, again, sugar substitutes, right? So the Olga's 000 actually uses stevia, which is really great. How long after surgery should I wait before getting into the gym and working out? Again, you have to wait 6 weeks. So you can walk. So if you want to go to the gym and get on the treadmill, that's fine. But it's amazing. I mean, I just actually had someone I talked to somebody last week who went walking outside and he felt fine, but then he went to the gym. He didn't connect the dots, but he had went to the gym and got on the treadmill and was really like pushing himself on the treadmill for like an hour. And he felt so sick and dizzy, and he had a really bad experience. And when he called me, that was it. It was like he pushed himself so hard. When I added up his calories, he was only taking in like 400 or 500 calories a day. And again, I want to emphasize, if you're not getting in above 800 calories, other than leisurely walking, like to get those endorphins going, to prevent blood clotting, things like that, walking is good, but you do not want to exercise. And then to lift weights, you need to be at least 6 weeks post-op. How do I become a member of the Facebook support page? You, in the email I send you, so I think, Eddie, you already asked me, you didn't get the packet yet. So shoot me an email right after this webinar, and I'll send you the link too. It'll be in the email with the packet. Were there many slides before the comparing vitamin slides? I was having a hard time signing it. Nope. That was the very first thing I talked about, Brian, was the vitamins. Well, I talked about deficiencies, so you actually might have missed a few slides. But this is being recorded, and so also in the email that I send all you guys, I give you the link, or you can just go to YouTube and Google Mexico Bariatric Center under YouTube, and we have our own station. All of the webinars are recorded, so give this one about a week and it will be on there. I got 100. So Mark, you're asking about probiotics. It needs to be is it 100 billion, 100 million? So you need at least 50 billion. So if you got something that was 100 billion, then if it tells you to take, really you only need to take half of that. So whatever the recommendation is for taking per day, just take half of that. That's all you need. Are the gastric balloon patients under the same strict guidelines? No, they're not, because you have a balloon injected for usually 6 months, but and you're eating, you still have the same digestive enzymes and all of that. You do have many of the people that I work with, you do have problems with acid reflux really bad, and it's very uncomfortable. So you are going to go through a phase where you just don't feel good, so that your intake might be really, really minimal. So definitely do your research as far as the balloon is concerned and make sure it's the right choice for you. Norman, I now drink 6 to 7 cups of coffee a day. Should I quit? How about caffeine withdrawal? Yes. So Norman, if you are still pre-op, slowly wean yourself off. You have to be off coffee on your pre-op diet. So because it's extremely acidic, and again, you're gonna, the two of the main side effects after surgery is severe acid reflux and severe nausea. So how you can prevent that is creating an alkaline environment in your body. And that's by doing the apple cider vinegar, doing the probiotic, and cutting out acidic foods, and for sure that's coffee. What is the incidence of B12 deficiency because of intrinsic factor disruption? Are shots recommended? Yeah, so, well, you don't have to do shots, you can. So because because you don't have the intrinsic factor, or it's bypassed, you can do injections, or you can do sublingual, which means it dissolves through the skin. So yes, you do have to do one or the other. Are Patch MD vitamins okay to use? So I actually used to, promote the patch vitamins, and so, but one of the things, because it's new, and the research, again, you got to go, there's research and then there's people's actual experiences. So the research with the patch shows that there's problems with the absorption of the nutrients, and even for me, I can't wrap my brain around how, like, for example, calcium is absorbed through the skin. But again, I'm not a biochemist, so I'm like not the expert in this industry. But So what I did is for people that were using them, what I asked is for them to, shoot me an email, let me know how things are going. And so, because you're recommended to do your blood work every 3 months after surgery, so that'll be 3, 6, 9, and 12 months after surgery. And this is really important because you want to, um, if you are deficient in something, you want to catch it really early. So what the feedback has been is about 50-50. So 50% of the people say everything is great. The other 50%, even though they're taking the patch, they go in and do their blood work and their labs are horrible. I mean, horrible. And it's amazing, and I don't know why. So some people absorb, I guess, okay, and other people don't. I don't know what the difference is, but it's pretty much a 50-50 chance. So from my perspective, if I'm the one telling you to do patches and you go to your doctor and your labs are horrible, I'd feel horrible. So from that perspective, I don't recommend them just because of the feedback we're getting. Let's see. Will you have a pre-op one soon? So I just did the pre-op one, and if you want to email me, Mark, I can shoot you the link. I'm not sure if it's on our I'm not 100% sure it's posted yet on because I just did it last Monday. So basically I do one pre-op and one post-op every month. So I won't do another one for a couple of weeks, but you can listen to the recorded one. So if you send me an email, I'll send you the link to that. Can you explain how we begin incorporating meat into our diets? I'm on soft foods now. I thought you said to blend it, or was that for the liquid phase? Please help. So Heather, no, well, blend it in the sense early on because like in like a food processor, like when you're making, let's say, shrimp salad or chicken salad, egg salad, if you cut up eggs and mix in mayonnaise, you still have chunks. But if you blend it, like in a food processor, it looks more like baby food. It's easier for you to get in. And so you start there, unless you're already doing, let's say you do canned chicken, which is, canned chicken is moister and it's softer. So, you want to start with things like that. Fish, something you could take a fork and mush it down. You want to think of things that are easy for you versus like a whole chicken breast. So if you were to take chicken and the canned chicken, you can just take a fork and you'll notice that you can easily crumple that up. Like you can easily mush it. You can't take a fork and mush a chicken breast. So you always want to think of the easiest. So can I take a fork and mush it is kind of an easy question. If you can do that, that's kind of the option that you want. Blending it makes it easier for you to eat. If you don't have a food processor, I'm not necessarily saying you have to go out and buy one. Just like use that kind of method of can I mush it with a fork. And then, and then the other thing is always think moist. So animal protein can be dry. And so some of it is proteins are hard to break down. They're hard to digest, and you don't have the same digestive enzyme. So that's where you can tend to get sick or feel uncomfortable. So, but the other part is the dry part. So doing a digestive enzyme is going to help. Starting with those softer meats like fish, softer fishes, tunas, canned chicken, things like that. And then adding some sort of fat to it. So like whether you add mayo to it, whether you add some olive oil or something to moisten it up so it's more like a chicken salad. That's going to help you get it down. So start with that. And then there's other things. So Heather, if you want to shoot me an email, I can, because I don't necessarily know exactly what you can and cannot do. And this is where I'm giving you general guidelines, but it's so amazing how each one of you is different. And what I tell one person, it doesn't work for the next. And that's why it's really great to be on the support page because you get a variety of different experiences. I missed the pre-op seminar. Is that available online? If you email me, then I can send you the link for that. Actually, just the first thing I would say to do is go to our YouTube station and and see if it's on there. So there's older ones on there, but the latest one I just did on Monday. See if it's up. If it's not, then I can send you a link. How do we listen to the webinar later? It's recorded. Let's see. John Hopkins recommends not taking vitamins in gummy form, but rather liquids is preferred. Any recommendations for liquid vitamins? No, I'm not. Again, I don't know of any bariatric specific liquid vitamins, and again, it's so hard. I see too many people that go and buy something and it's like not the right amount, it's too much sugar, it's not in the right form. I mean, it's going to make your life so much easier just to buy bariatric vitamins. So if you want to Google bariatric specific liquid vitamins and see what comes up, I'm not aware of any that I know of, but it doesn't mean that they're not out there. And then again, they're going to probably be loaded with sugar substitutes, which I'm not a big fan of. Let's see. I've been trying to join the Facebook page since November and nothing. Kelsey, can you shoot me an email and just say that in the email, and I will send that over to the IT team. So I pretty much run the Facebook support page as far as like you can ask me questions on there and stuff, but I am not in charge of allowing people to come in. So I have no control over that, but I can get that to the right person. Do you recommend Patch MD? So I already talked about that. Yeah, let's see. Why is the incidence of dumping syndrome with sleeve? Is it manageable with diet? So that's actually a really good question, and it's so interesting because in theory, so this is why, like I tell you, you have to be a mindful eater. So in theory, sleeve patients shouldn't get dumping, in theory, but many patients do. It's so interesting. So if you're following the plan and doing like the recommended foods and the guidelines, for the most part, you should be under the 15 grams of carbs. But like I said, I wouldn't even say it's a lot, but some sleep patients do get dumping syndrome, but it's not everybody. Where gastric bypass, you're going to get dumping syndrome for sure if you eat too much sugar. There isn't a lot of information available for gastric balloon patients. Would you consider doing a webinar on it as well? Yeah, I actually, yes, I should be doing a webinar on gastric balloon. So yes, I will offer that, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's something where now we are getting more people, but it's still such a small percentage, but I do need to do one because we do have people get the balloon. So yes, I will offer that. Facebook group constantly mentions GASEC and or these necessary. Yeah, so remember, and you'll get the GASECs you can get over the counter. So some of the, remember, you do have gas problems after surgery, and then remember I talked to you about severe acid reflux. Again, hopefully if you do pre-op the way I told you, you prevent it or at least minimize it, but you will leave the hospital with prescriptions for that. So you'll get that when you leave. And you only need to take it if you're that person that is having the severe acid reflux. Can you get Ezekiel bred in Canada? I don't know. I really need to get a list of products from people who live in Canada. I'm not that familiar. I know that it's harder. I know it's harder for you guys, and I do need to create a list for you. That's another thing that I need to do, because a lot of the stuff I mentioned, you guys can't get. Let's see. Does the vitamin water zero need to be diluted? No. So vitamin water zero doesn't have any sugar in it, sweetened with stevia, so you don't have to dilute anything that's zero sugar. The only juices you need to dilute are the ones that use regular sugar. There is also data that states calcium citrate is preferred, not calcium carbonate. Do the vitamins you sell have, yeah, so right. So the vitamins, that's bariatric specific vitamins. So yeah, bariatric patients can't break down calcium carbonate. So it needs to be calcium citrate. So when you get bariatric specific vitamins, everything's going to be in the exact amount, the right forms that you need. So just the first year for sure, it just makes your life so much easier. When when does the apple cider vinegar, does it matter what time of day? No, if you have acid reflux already, I would do it in the morning and at night. But it's more about when are you going to remember. Like for me, before I make my tea in the morning, I do the apple cider vinegar right away. Cindy says you can get Ezekiel bread in Canada, but is usually in the freezer section. So perfect. There you go. So you can get Ezekiel bread in Canada. Are the Undri vitamins okay to take? Yeah. So the Undri protein powder, I recommend that. It's perfect. It's actually made specifically for bariatric patients, and that's one of the proteins in the list that I give you. And so yeah, the vitamins are fine as well. And actually I don't know off the top of my head. I would look and see again as far as the sugar, not sugar, but what sweetener they use. But that would probably be my only concern. Uh, but I know a lot of their other things they use stevia, so they may use stevia um, in their vitamins as well. How much apple cider vinegar should we have pre or post op? So just 1 tablespoon. Again, if you don't have acid reflux, I mean, and if you do it more often, so even if you want to do it twice a day, you can. It's not going to be bad, but for sure, start with 1 tablespoon, and you can just dilute it in a little bit of water. And then if you have apple cider vinegar, if you have acid reflux pre-op, then you're going to want to do 1 tablespoon twice a day. Now that's pre-op. I mean, you start pre-op, but then you're going to want to continue that post-op, but you might want to wait a week. So again, after just having surgery, you want to kind of let things relax and rest. And once you start doing your vitamins, then you can do the apple cider vinegar again. And that I recommend doing it forever. Like I've been doing it for years and it's amazing. If we order the 1 month supply of vitamins, it includes the iron supplement. Do we need the iron if we're not iron deficient prior to surgery? No, you don't need the iron. Well, for the sleeve, you really don't. So, you may want to talk to them about that as far as the iron. Yeah, if you don't want the iron. Does the apple cider vinegar have to have the mother in it? Yes. Great question. And so that's why you want to get organic apple cider vinegar. It's just a pure form. It's less processed. There's more nutrients in it. You're going to get more value and outcome with that. So um, I recommend the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, but I was just in the store the other day and I was just curious because I always buy Bragg's and I just saw the generic store brand. I don't remember what the name of it was, unfortunately, but it was organic and it had the mother in it. So it was fine. So as long as it's organic and just look and it'll say right on the bottle, it'll have the mother in it. So yeah, that's really important. Is the apple cider vinegar a must? Can you take the pills? Yeah, it's first of all, it's not a must. I highly recommend it just because, again, one of the side effects post-op is acid reflux. And then the other thing, this is just preventative medicine, you guys. Like on a bigger scale, you have to remember, disease can only grow in an acidic state. So if you are doing things that's causing your body to be alkaline, then you're preventing disease. And it's like literally the cheapest and easiest preventative medicine you'll ever gonna find. And as far as the impact that it has, and it also helps with absorption of your nutrients. I mean, it helps prevent kidney stones. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, but if you can't tolerate the apple cider vinegar, yes, you absolutely can do the pills. That's fine. You guys, thank you so much. I am sorry I went way over. You guys have been fantastic, and thank you for staying on the call. Again, if you have any other questions that come up, please don't hesitate to email me or call me. My direct extension is 133, which is right here, and then my email is prudence@sources.com. Okay, thanks guys for being on the call. Have a great night.